another one on seller financing here, which is how do I find owners that are willing to do it? I think it's a great question. It's you got to work it, to find owners that want seller financing. There are a couple different ways. Number one is you just start going through Biz Buy Sell. There's this slogan. I don't know if it's true or not, but that Biz Buy Sell is where businesses go to die. I think it's kind of funny, but so on that side of it, knowing that means like you could probably get some deals, right? That if someone has listed their business here, that often they've already tried to sell it other ways, and that just means there's flexibility on it. And so it just takes going out there and starting these conversations and going through the numbers, and honestly, like trying to build the relationship with the sellers. Because the only way that seller financing works, at least like at scale and at volume that you probably want to do, is when there's trust, right? That the seller is going to trust you. Because you can sign all the legal docs and they're going to get like protected and all that stuff, but the seller like doesn't want to have to execute on any of it, right? They don't want to have to chase you for payments. They don't want to have to like having legal fees and have the stress of it all, and he said, she said, and questioning things and gotchas. And so at the end of the day, if they don't trust you that you are going to make good on your payments without any hassle, without any delays, without any defaults, then you have a much, much higher chance of getting it. And so it works very well in franchising, because franchising is a private network in that, like, there's no outsiders, right? We all got to like sign our names in blood to be part of a franchise, whether that's automotive, whether that's home services or salons or anything. It doesn't matter what the brand is. It doesn't matter. We're all in the same boat. And so there's inherent trust because we're both fighting the same battle every single day. And thus, when people are ready to sell and they're ready to get out, it's the easiest person to sell to is another franchisee. They're already approved, all that stuff. We talked about that a little bit earlier. And so if you said, hey, I want to execute my strategy, I want to get in here and I want to start small, 1 or 2 locations, I want to take all my money and I'm going to reinvest and grow it and roll it up, whatever it is, then a franchise network could be a good option for that, because once you get your foot in the door, you build relationships with the people. You let them know when you want to sell, hey, I'm going to be your guy. And then, man, the deals happen. I'm telling you. So that would be number one, my first recommendation. If it's an independent business that you're looking to do, then, I would be looking to work these angles. If they're, generally ones that have been listed longer, lower prices, not much margin, those are going to be your better options, right? It's the people who are highly motivated to sell and want to get out. Often too, sometimes they will say down here if they're open to seller financing, like this one's not. This is actually a franchise, it looks like, but a D1 training. Oh, here we go. Never mind. Willing to take 50% up front and 50% owner financing. So there you go. First one I clicked on was not planned, by the way. So this is one's doing, what are they doing in revenue, right? They're doing $500K in revenue, which, I don't know the D1 model as much, but for other ones, like it's not terrible. They're not disclosing cash flow. Obviously, you'd have to get into that. They're asking $200K. So they're saying $100K down of cash, $100K, they'd seller finance it. Right. So then of the $100K that you have to get down, possible you could go to SBA. Depends on if this thing's profitable. If it's not profitable, they're probably not going to loan on you. But then, there's people out there that will be investors that will say, hey, I'll loan you $100K, but I want 25% of the business, or like whatever it is. I have people all the time that message me, rich dudes who don't want to get in, don't want to operate the business, but have the money. They want to invest with with an operating partner, and they just got to find them. So I'm telling you, the guys are out there. You just got to be able to find those people. And so if you're serious about, hey, I want to grow, start building your own network, right? Start finding people who are successful entrepreneurs in the places that you live, and belong to the local country clubs and like, own the local businesses. And a lot of them, like, they want to diversify into other things, but they don't have the time. And so to be partners with some young, hungry, driven person who's like going to be all in on making this thing work. Again, trust. It all comes down to trust. If they trust that you are going to deliver, then yeah, like you have not no problem, but you will get the deals. So that's what I would do. I think there's a way to up here. Let me just see if I can get this thing. I think there's a way you can filter it as well. That you can go when you're looking for things. If you go biz buy sell, I think there's a way that you can must have seller financing. So you can just turn that on, and there you go. Here's all the ones that have it. So, but again, you don't want to buy it just to buy it. You want to buy something that like has the potential, that you're looking to do a job. Here you go. General contractor looking to retire. They did $900K, they had one full-time employee. Owner has vast experience, but like, yeah, this guy will finance $100K over 5 years. He's asking $400. But the question is like, what are you getting? Right? He is a contractor. If you're not a contractor, I don't think this would be a terrible business to buy. If that guy quits, you literally have no business. So no wonder he wants to sell or finance it. It's a job that he's trying to get off his plate, right? But you're a general contractor, you got some skills, you could probably get a way better deal than that. If it's like, hey, I can just go into, I can move it into my business here. So anyway, tons of here's one, right? 75K. Be your own boss cleaning windows. But anyway, all right, find the best way to owners. I mean, same concept, right? Which is like, a couple ways. I mean, you talked about biz buy sell already. I think you can. There's a lot to work there. Some of these deals move really slow too. I mean, a friend of mine was telling me he'd been contacting an owner for 2 years, 3 years. It's taken me multiple years to land some jobs. So some of these, like, you'll have these conversations and they just take forever. And so you just gotta like stay on them and build a little pipeline of all the people you're talking to. Like brokers. I mean, we have. So we primarily work with real estate brokers, and we have one business guy. But the real estate brokers are the ones, buy-side agents, commercial, who are cold calling landlords of target properties for us. So that could be existing, it could be independents, right? That could be corporate locations, so like national brands that we would then become their landlord. And depending on when the leases are up, we could possibly, like if a lease was up in 3 years on a building that we would want to occupy, we could buy the building with the lease in place and then not renew the lease and then just take it over, right? Totally valid strategy that we could do. So we're looking for those opportunities. We're also having them call like just whatever, what I'm going to call conversion retail, which is those. So we're constantly trying to create these conversations every single week. We're having them. I mean, I have one of the reasons I create content is like, I have shop owners that message me all the time, every week almost. Now, some of them are in locations that, are just too far from me because right now we're just in Pennsylvania, New Jersey. But, I got a couple right now that are really good opportunities that we're going to pursue that are in our market. So, that is the best way to find it. Is you got to do the work. You can't just sit behind your computer all day. You can't just be biz buy sell. Like you got to get out there. You got to shake hands. Like we send letters to people. I wanted to buy. I see this next question I'm going to take is about a car wash. But there was a car wash next to one of my buildings, and I had the idea of like buying it. It was a self-service car wash, and so I found out who owned it, and I just I took a yellow piece of paper. Right, legal pad, yellow paper, and I wrote the note saying, hey, I'm the owner of such and such. I did some research about him. I figured out, some things and whatever. I wrote a personalized note and I mailed it to him. I hand addressed the envelope. I put a stamp on manually, and I did get a call. I got a call a couple weeks later from the guy saying, hey, I got your letter. We're not ready to sell yet, but I'll keep you in mind. And then, I don't know, a year later, he messaged me and said, hey, we're listing the business. We're listing the building and the real estate for sale. This is what we're asking. If you want it, this is it. And I didn't pursue. I just decided I didn't want it at that point, but it worked. All right. Same thing. I bought years ago, I was into real estate. I wanted to buy a rental property that was one of my old neighbors. So same thing. I wrote a handwritten letter to the executor of her estate, and I own that property now. And so you want to do what other people aren't doing, right? So not many people are out there legit sending handwritten, hand addressed envelopes. They could fake it, but it's pretty obvious when it is. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to do things that people aren't doing, and it's working for me.